All right, welcome to Field Hockey Canada One-on-One. Today, I'm thrilled to be sitting down with Richard Hildreth, who has recently announced his retirement from the men's national program. Rich has played for the men's national team since 2004. He has 188 caps to his name. Rich has played for a myriad of club teams in the UK, Germany, Australia, as well as here on home soil in Canada. Richie, welcome. Thanks for coming on to do this.
Thanks a lot, Kev. I'm excited.
Yeah, honestly, let's just start. Let's jump in right away and start with the decision to retire. You announced it sort of at the end of last month. What led to your decision, and maybe just talk a little bit about some of the reaction from the internal group, teammates, friends that you've told. I suppose this video and the story attached will kind of announce it publicly. But yeah, what led to the decision and some of the reactions, immediate reactions?
Yeah, so it was it's always a difficult decision to kind of call it quits. I've been kind of lingering around for a few years for a few years now. I don't think I've played a game since 2018. I think the World Cup was actually my last game I played. So um yeah, it wasn't really, it was made easier. It wasn't really a decision I had to make. It was more my my body just kind of couldn't do this, couldn't do it anymore, couldn't kind of keep up with where it needed to be to play international hockey. So yeah, on the one hand, it's obviously kind of quite difficult, but on the other hand, it's kind of made easier because my knees have just been a little bit shot with the cartilage wearing down. And I told myself I'd give it a shot and see how my body did. And I did that. It just wasn't working out. And yeah, it made it a little bit easier, the fact that it was my my knee that wouldn't allow me to be where I needed to be, rather than just kind of not being good not being good enough. Um, so yeah, that's kind of what aided my decision to call retirement right now, and just kind of leave it to the other guys to go ahead and do well in Tokyo.
Yeah, and I'm sure that the extended break attached with the COVID pandemic like only heightened, I suppose, that, right? Like every year counts, especially when you're on the tail end of your career. Um, how has that been managing? I mean, I guess I don't want to spend too much time on that, but talking a little bit about the last sort of like 18 months and how, like you said, the World Cup might be in your last like sanctioned game, and then there was the COVID shutdown. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, the timing didn't work out very well for me. I mean, I don't think the timing of COVID worked out very well for for anybody in the world. But yeah, if it was last summer, I probably would have given it a better shot, just with how I was feeling. But yeah, I mean, it's made things difficult for kind of everybody, and specifically with field hockey. I guess every country's had their hurdles, but I think it's been particularly tough for our group. Um, we were kind of stuck without a coach because Paul Bundy had resigned. I think he had some kind of family. He had a new baby come in, and yeah, we were just kind of left in a really tough position without a coach throughout a really important period. So yeah, that made it even more difficult, I think, for us, and I'm hoping that we don't kind of suffer the consequences of that leading into Tokyo. But yeah, for me personally, it was it's just one of those things, right? It's I'm sure it's happened to a lot of different athletes where they were just stuck having to wait around an extra year, and they either had maybe through injury, maybe through work or family commitments. And it sucks, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's just the way it works sometimes. So
Yeah. How have you found the reaction from some of your teammates? Obviously, you've told the team. Some of these guys are, some of your closest friends and teammates of many years. What have the initial reactions been?
oh, they've been devastated. Boys are yeah, boys hate to see me go. Uh yeah, it's yeah, there's a lot of the reason guys stick around. I know the reason I stuck around for a long time was just because of how much fun it is, and you get to chase a little ball around with some of your closest friends. And um yeah, I've had a really close. I've been lucky. I've had a really close relationship with a lot of the guys in the team. So they've been really supportive, and sad to see me go, but I'm sure they move on pretty quickly. They'll forget about me pretty quick, I think.
I'm sure that's not true. Let's flash back. Let's hit the rewind button a little bit and let's go back to that 2004 to 2006 range when you join the team and you start to get some matches under your belt. Um, who are some of the guys that set examples for you back then? And maybe you could just kind of reflect on those, couple early years of getting into the program and how it kind of set you up to go on to have it, a long career, long successful career.
Yeah. So the first, I mean, I'm dating myself here. It was 17, 16, 17 years ago. So it was a bit different back then. Just the way the game was played, right now you kind of run the subs you're on for kind of 5 to 10 minutes at a time. Back then it was a lot more difficult. So you had a lot more kind of your starting guys would start, and your kind of younger players, or your yeah, I guess your kind of fringe players would just kind of sit in the bench a lot. So a lot of kind of the games you would get, you'd be in for kind of 10 minutes, and you're kind of shaking and just trying to not make mistakes. So it's so much different now, because you get kind of thrown in the deep end, because you can't afford to have your 16th, 17th players just kind of sitting on the bench. So yeah, that made it a bit more. I think it's more of a difficult start when you're coming in cold, and you don't get to play very much. Um, but yeah, it was still I was really lucky to get the opportunity at quite a young age. One of my heroes growing up was Paul Gascoigne. Gaza was, he was a guy that was a bit of a maverick. He would kind of move to the beat of his own drum, which I think is pretty similar to me like that. So yeah, he's one guy that definitely had an influence on me early in my career. Another guy, kind of a bit more recent, I guess, is Matt Guest. Matt was a new immigrant to Canada, and he kind of worked his way on the team. But he worked really hard, and he got an Olympics in, and he was kind of the epitome of professionalism. Um, so he had a really positive influence on me as well. Even though kind of near the end he was he was a bit rubbish, so we had to kind of get him off the team. Um, but yeah, those are probably two guys that really had a positive influence on me in my career.
Okay, I'm gonna throw some numbers at you, Rich. Over 40 international events with Team Canada, 3 Pan Am Cups, 3 Commonwealth Games, 2 World Cups, 1 Pan Am Games, 188 caps. Obviously, we can't sit here and sum up, a 17-year career in one question and answer, but maybe you can look back on some of these major events and talk about some on-field highlights. Obviously, we'll take that to some of the off-field highlights after, but thinking about your career on the field, a massive career. Um, One of the, now that you're retiring, one of the longest careers in Canadian hockey on the men's side. So can you just talk a bit about some of the on-field highlights that you recollect?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. A lot of guys, I think, talk about the qualifying tournaments more than, like, when we play in World Cups or Olympics. They're always fun. We usually end up finishing 10th or 11th out of 12. So there's not normally loads of highlights in those. Yeah. So for me, I think the kind of 2009 World Cup qualifier we played in Santiago it's just so exciting. You play in a semifinal and then a final, and it's always, we're usually playing against Argentina, and it's just a nail biter. Always comes down to the end, so it's quite dramatic. So that's probably my most memorable kind of on-field moment with the team. I mean, there's too many. There's just too many to kind of go through individual games and things like that. But yeah, I'd say that 2009 World Cup qualifier, and then I guess for me personally, 2014, I won the FHPC Male Player of the Year, and that was a really really important honor for me. So those are the two that really stand out for me.
You talk about the qualifying tournaments and so many of these nail biters, and we've even seen in the last 5, 6 years several, shootout wins or sudden death wins. What is it about like your team and the identity that it's created over the course of the last, 2 decades as far as coming out of those extremely tight, extremely dramatic qualifiers and getting the wins?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. I mean, shootouts, they seem like they're just a coin flip, but I mean, I don't know. I think that's like maybe a psychologist is better to kind of give an answer to that. I've always thought our team performs better as an underdog. We've never been a strong performing team when we're kind of a favorite. So yeah, a lot like I don't know. In recent memory, all the games we've kind of gone to shootouts or kind of overtime, things like that. They're usually against teams that are kind of ranked above us. We're not expected to win, so maybe that kind of the pressure's off, or I don't know. Maybe we just have really kind of cool heads. Like if, for example, if it isn't a shootout, it is only kind of five guys that have to do it.
Right.
So I know if I had to, go do one of those, I would not be, I would not have a very cool head for that. But we've been really lucky to have the guys that can do that, and obviously having the goaltending behind us. Yeah, equally, if not way more important, is having the confidence in that goalie to kind of make save after save every single time. So yeah, I mean, I know that wasn't that wasn't a very certain answer, but I mean, yeah, that was kind of my thoughts. Is we like playing that underdog role. We like making it hard on teams. And once we get to an overtime or a shootout, it's like you're almost playing with house money. Pressure's off, and you just go and kind of do their thing. So I mean, we're
Yeah.
thankful to have guys like Suki and Adam and Marky and all these guys just seem to score score all the time whenever we need it. So
Yeah. Let's stay in the same theme, but talk a little bit about the off-field moments. I mean, so many of these, memories that in these major tournaments are on the road in foreign countries, or just I feel like the off-field sometimes is inseparable when you're looking back on time at tournaments. Can you talk about any of the like connections that you've made and the off-field memories that stick out in your mind, whether it's like a road trip, flights, or the hotels, or what have you?
yeah, well, we have so much fun. Our group's always been we've always been really close. So I mean, I played on a lot of different teams, and uh, I think yeah, I felt really fortunate to have kind of such a close group, and everyone that people leave and people come in, and we've been so lucky to have a group that just kind of gets along so well. So yeah, I think just kind of the people around you. I don't have any kind of specific stories about flights or kind of hotel moments. Well, I probably do, but they're too numerous to talk about right now. But yeah, it's just the people, and the fans as well. It's so nice having people recognize you, come up to you in the street, and tell you how much they appreciate you. Um, and then yeah, in terms of my kind of relationship with the team, it's just nice. There's a lot of mutual respect.
You've played for numerous club teams in the UK and other parts of Europe. What's it like going abroad and playing hockey in a different country? Obviously, you've got a lot of experience playing here in Canada, but what are some of the key differences and just some of your experiences abroad, and how they helped, I don't know, prepare you for international hockey or support your career?
Yeah, it's seeing a lot of different players. We get stuck. Canada obviously field hockey is especially for the men's side. It's such a small sport. The kind of daily training environment is it's really intense, really important. But you're kind of seeing the same kind of 15 to 25 guys all the time, and you end up kind of figuring out each other's habits, how they play, things like that. So I mean, I think it's really, really important for players to go abroad to see not only different styles of hockey, but just play against different players that you don't know. Um, yeah, and also getting those matches in. We don't have a very good domestic league, So it's just so important to get weekly matches. Even if it's not international quality, but it's good enough, and it provides enough pressure that you have to learn. You have to learn to play, with something on the line week in, week out. And I think that really helps kind of transfer over to playing international matches. Just the kind of the mental side of playing with a bit of pressure, rather than just kind of training over and over and over, training matches and things like that. Um, so I know it's been really valuable, not just for the current group, but for, as long as I've been on the team, it's the guys that go over that really they kind of learn. You can tell they just kind of learn how to play in those pressure-filled matches.
Yeah. So you talk a bit about the current group. Obviously, you leave the team, this month, and they're currently ranked top 10, heading to the Olympic Games in a few months. How do you feel about the team and sort of like how they're positioned now, and going forward? How do you see, how do you see the shape of the team going forward? You've been a part of the group that's sort of shepherded the program over the last 2 decades. How do you see the future of the team and program?
Um, yeah, we've got. I mean, it seems like it's a similar kind of cycle that that we've been in kind of since I can remember. There's always a couple young guys that kind of filter through, and we're always really hopeful that they can kind of step up and make an impact. I think there's a few guys right now that are kind of in that position. Um, yeah, and I think, for one thing, it kind of puts pressure on some of the more experienced players to not get complacent, and to actually, keep their spot, and it just helps make the team better. But yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, this year, the last couple of years, and this year specifically, been so unique. We've had no competition up until, I don't know, a few days
Yeah.
ago. Um, and we're in a tough position. Being in Canada, we're really isolated. Teams over in Europe have it way easier, being able to kind of take a train for an hour, and go get some matches, and play kind of top quality league hockey. So um, I would anticipate that initially we're gonna struggle, um, while we're kind of getting our feet wet, getting into kind of back into shape and kind of remembering what proper international hockey is like. But it's always been a really resilient group. I can't recall the amount of tournaments we've gone to, and we got absolutely smashed in all the kind of pre-tournament pre-tournament matches, and then we kind of go, but we're I think we've gotten kind of used to that. And then we kind of, we don't pan out, we walk into a tournament, and all of a sudden we kind of, once the kind of whistle blows for game one, we're usually pretty sharp. So that's just kind of the way it is, and I think that's the way it's going to be this year for us as well. We're gonna have to kind of grind through, and hopefully surprise a couple teams that haven't been able to see us play for a couple of years. So and then, yeah, leading forward, I think there's a lot of good young talent. There's a lot of good young talent coming through. Uh, you know, there's I think we have a relatively old team at the moment, so it's going to be really important for these guys to get their experience now, and be able to step into some important roles in the next kind of year or two.
Yeah. As you step away, what's next? I know we were talking a little off air about some potential coaching opportunities. So you hope to stay involved in the game in some capacity, but I guess I'm just curious, what's the next little while look like for you, for Rich? And the last 2 decades have probably been hockey, hockey, hockey nonstop. So yeah, what's the next step, if you know?
Yeah, so I've been really, really fortunate. I know a lot of the guys that in a similar position as me were, obviously main focus is on hockey, but being really lucky to kind of explore other avenues, both through kind of formal education, and kind of different work experiences. So yeah, I don't feel completely lost. Not yet anyways. Maybe in a month I'll have a different answer. Um, but yeah, so I'm really wanting to kind of stay involved in the game. I love it, and when I'm kind of helping out coaching, it's one of those things where it doesn't feel like work. It's just really enjoyable to kind of get up and be excited to go to the field, even though it's hard to watch. I think especially I'm sure a lot of athletes have this experience where when you're coaching, you just want to go, you still want to go play. Um, but I think as I get older and fatter, that'll probably wear off pretty quickly. Probably happy I'm not in the field. So yeah, I'm excited to get into coaching, and I've also been writing a lot of short stories, which has kind of been a passion of mine as well. So kind of hoping to kind of continue with that, maybe have a bit of time to explore both careers as a writer and as a coach.
Great. Rich, it's been fantastic catching up, talking to you. And yeah, congratulations on a amazing career. And thanks for doing this.
Thanks a lot, Kev. Appreciate it.